No one remembered when humans stopped asking for respect, and the galaxy finally saw the truth instead. Not in war, not in politics, not in conquest, but the day one human stepped forward and saved a child that wasn't even his species. That day, everything changed. The planet Voron 3 was a quiet world, home to the gentle, four-armed Kyreni people. They were scholars, musicians, and artists who believed violence was a primitive relic of uncivilized species. They had only ever heard stories about humans, savages from a death world, adrenaline-fueled berserkers, war-born, storm-raised, and utterly unpredictable. So when the first human outpost was approved on their moon, the Kyreni whispered their fears behind closed doors. They are dangerous. They are chaotic. They survive what should kill them. The Kyreni government officially welcomed the alliance, but their citizens did not. And in the middle of all this silent distrust stood Marcus Hale, a human engineer assigned to maintain the atmospheric stations on the moon. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero. He was just a quiet man who liked fixing things. But fate doesn't ask who is ready. It simply chooses. The disaster began without warning. A mining drone deep beneath the Kyreni capital malfunctioned, triggering a catastrophic chain reaction in the geothermal tunnels. The ground split open. The sky roared with thunderous explosions. Buildings collapsed like they were made of sand. A devastating shockwave tore through the city, and a swarm of emergency beacons lit up the sky like panicked fireflies. Marcus was above the city when it happened, doing routine checks on a communications tower. He watched in horror as the city crumbled below him. He heard the distress channels flood with the terrified screams of the Kyreni. He immediately radioed his team. "We're going in." His team hesitated. "Marcus, the Kyreni don't want our help. They made that clear." Marcus didn't even pause. His voice was firm. "They don't have to want it. They just need it." He overloaded the jet module on his maintenance suit and dove off the tower, rocketing toward the collapsing city below. He wasn't doing it for glory. He wasn't doing it for politics. He was doing it because people were dying. Most of the Kyreni were fleeing toward designated evacuation zones, a frantic tide of panic and confusion. But one sound cut through the chaos, the cry of a child. Marcus skidded to a stop near a collapsed learning hall. The building had folded inward on itself, creating a deadly cavern of sharp, twisted stone and steel. And trapped inside was a small Kyreni girl, no older than 8 in human years. Her forearms were trembling as she desperately tried to lift a massive slab of debris off her younger brother. Marcus carefully began to crawl toward them. The moment the girl saw him, her eyes widened with sheer terror. Don't come closer. Humans hurt people." The words hit him harder than any of the debris falling around them. But he didn't argue. He didn't try to defend himself. He didn't correct her. He simply knelt down beside her, his voice quiet and calm. "I'm here to help. Point to where it hurts." Her lower hands shakily pointed to her brother, who was unconscious, trapped, and just seconds away from suffocation. The building groaned ominously above them. Another collapse was moments away. There was no time. Marcus activated his exosuit's emergency boosters, features meant for lifting heavy machinery, not entire walls. He braced his back under the slab of concrete and steel. The weight was unbelievable. It felt like the sky itself was crushing him. But then the child's tiny, desperate voice cut through his pain. "Please, please save him." And Marcus Hale, a simple engineer from a distant planet called Earth, pushed. The exosuit began to spark and smoke. Pressure alarms screamed in his ears. He felt his spine bending to its breaking point. But he pushed harder, and harder still. Blood started to run from his nose. His knees buckled under the strain. His vision blurred, turning the world into a swirl of gray dust and red warning lights. But the slab rose, an inch, then another inch. It was just enough. The girl quickly pulled her brother free, dragging him towards safety. The moment he was clear, Marcus collapsed forward. The debris slammed down right behind him, sealing the chamber. Dust filled the air, choking him. His suit was crushed. He was sure his ribs were broken. But then the child crawled back to him. Her tears fell onto his cracked visor. She looked at him, her fear replaced by confusion. Why would you help us? Marcus coughed, his voice barely a whisper. Because you needed me. Rescue teams eventually reached them. Kyreni medics carefully carried the children away first. But something unexpected happened. The girl wouldn't let go of Marcus's hand. Her small, four-fingered hands wrapped tightly around his bloodied glove, refusing to release her grip until she was gently forced onto a stretcher. And the moment she was safe, she did something no Kyreni child had done in generations. She lifted all four of her hands and saluted him in the ancient Kyreni gesture of deepest, most profound respect. That image went viral across the entire galaxy. A human, broken, bruised, nearly crushed to death, saving children who had feared him only moments earlier. The galaxy had always painted humans as dangerous, chaotic warmongers. No one had expected kindness. No one had expected sacrifice. No one had expected this. Over the next few days, something profound began to change. Kyreni citizens started visiting the human outpost, leaving food, gifts, and handwritten messages of thanks. Strangers on the street would hug members of Marcus's team. Kyreni children wanted to meet the brave human who held up the sky. The Kyreni Council issued a formal public apology to all of humanity. We misjudged you. We let fear guide us. You are not monsters. You are protectors. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy saw the truth. Humans aren't feared because they are strong. Humans are respected because, despite that strength, they choose kindness. Even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. When Marcus finally woke up in the medical wing, the Kyreni girl was standing beside his bed, holding her little brother's hand. She smiled at him, a deep, glowing kind of smile that was unique to her species. "You're not like the stories," she said softly. Marcus chuckled weakly, the sound raspy in his throat. "Most people aren't." She leaned a little closer, her eyes full of gratitude. "We won't forget what you did. And neither would the galaxy. Because sometimes empires rise and fall, wars begin and end, and histories are written and rewritten. But the greatest change in history often comes not from a grand battle, but from one human saving one child on one forgotten day. And in doing so, proving to all the stars in the sky that humanity is and always will be worth believing in.